Welcome to episode 194 of the Thunder Underground podcast. Trent and Jason here. And this week, we've got a ton of stuff to talk about.
We've got all kinds of stuff. Big doings.
That's right. One of which is Tim Sult from Clutch.
Yes.
Is on our podcast.
Yes.
A member of Clutch is now on the Thunder Underground podcast. I would say that that's a huge, what's the right word?
Accomplishment.
There you go.
I think we can just go ahead and end it all now.
Yeah.
We're done.
We reached that level because we've had, Gene Simmons on, huge rock stars, right? Members of Megadeth and whatever. But Clutch is one of those bands that just rides that line of being top level of no matter what genre you want to talk about.
Rides that line? What are you talking about? They fucking grab that line by the haunches and have their way with it. Clutch is one of those bands.
Maybe I meant to say walks down that line.
There you go. They're a constant with me and you and, the rest of our friends. We all love them. So to have Tim Sult on the show is quite an honor. And, since 94, goddamn,
That's right.
Sorry, I'm going to cough. I'm going to fucking sniffle. I'm still goddamn sick.
Hey, I think my voice probably sounds that way too. My ears are clogged. I can't even tell if I'm talking too loud or what.
I haven't shaken this thing. You know what I did yesterday? Never done in my life. The nasal rinse.
Oh, wow. I've never done that either.
It sucked balls.
But did it help?
Yes, it did. Mel said, "You're going to do this." And I said, "No, the fuck I'm not. I'm not going to shove anything up my nose." She goes, "Quit being a fucking baby." And I shoved this thing up my nostril. And she squeezed the hell out of it, and it came all out the other fucking nostril.
Wow.
And I'm fucking tearing up, hacking, snot everywhere, tears. I'm like a gigantic, whiny, fucking hairy infant, throwing a fit. But I swear to God, the things that came out of my nose, I've never seen in my life. There was like this big, gigantic piece of like black plastic or something that'd probably been in there since 2002.
Yeah. Yeah, you got that at that Downset concert.
Fuck, probably.
That would have been 99. 2002, that would have been Dust for Life concert.
God. I think that's it. Did we ever see them?
No, I wish.
Man.
Maybe the Deadlights.
Yeah, no, I don't know if we ever saw the Deadlights.
Yeah, at Oscar,
the singer for the Deadlights passed away.
Yeah, that was last year, right?
A couple years ago, or last year. But Dust for Life, they're probably like working at a rubber factory or something now. I don't know.
Whatever pays the bills. Maybe they can get back together like Zen Hipster.
Or, which was awesome. Or working at Trader Joe's, like Jeffrey from The Cosby Show.
That's right.
Was that his name?
That was the name on the show, yeah.
Okay, there you go. That's all we need to know. But the moral of the story, or the end of the story is, I have to do this all over again, because I'm still fucking...
Yeah.
It sucks. It's time of the year.
I might try that myself.
It's like, fuck, I don't know. So, anyways, back to, I don't even know what we were talking about. Clutch, that's right.
Right. Well, before we get into that, we are sponsored by DEB Concerts. DEB Concerts, based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. They bring in tons of shows here for us. Most of these shows, or all of them so far that I know of, except one, have been at the Ideal Ballroom.
Yes.
And they're all kick-ass. Because
every one of them.
Either both of us or one of us have been to probably 90% of these shows.
Yeah.
Everyone from Winger to Dawkins, Sebastian Bach, Lita Ford, Warrant. They did... Who else am I forgetting?
Firehouse was with Warrant.
Yeah, Striper, Steelheart, Beasto Blanco. The list is very long, and it keeps growing.
Yes.
We just saw Tom Kiefer here a couple weeks ago, and here in a couple weeks from now, November 3rd, the Mighty Kicks.
Fucking A, Randy.
Can't wait for this. They are touring on the 30-year anniversary of Blow My Fuse.
Okay.
So there will be a heavy dose of songs from that album.
Okay.
As there always is, but they've got some great new music out as well you should check out. But while you're there, get out there early because our good friends in Rocket Science will be opening the show.
Our great, great friends.
That's right. Who have been on this podcast multiple times.
Yes.
Along with the band Sweat and Bullets. Like we said, that's November 3rd. Then going into December on the 8th, LA Guns is coming back. They've been out there about a year ago. This time, it's a double bill with Junkyard.
Man, dude, see Junkyard. I can't believe it.
Yeah, no, we talked about that for years. Like, why wasn't Junkyard at the first 3 Rocklahomas when it had all those bands from that era there? But finally, DEB Concerts is making our dreams a reality.
That's right. And you know who they need to get next?
Ugly Kid Joe.
Well,
Queensryche.
Jesus.
Jackal.
Yep.
Dead Daisies.
You're not fucking around.
Well, you ask.
How about this one? Dangerous Toys.
There you go.
What the fuck, man? Dangerous fucking Toys.
What if
Jason Master? He lives in Texas. It's not far.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
They could do a double bill with them and Broken Teeth.
Oh my God.
They'd even have Sleazebees open.
Dude. Or Slick Toxic.
You keep bringing them up. I barely ever listen to them.
What
I
about
love
Kid Tracy?
I don't fucking remember. I remember one song.
What about Spread Eagle?
Yeah, I love Spread Eagle.
What about King of the Hill?
I don't know. I can't remember them much.
You know?
But
what
Spread
about
Eagle,
Rock's Gang?
Spread Eagle's first album
I could keep going.
is highly underrated.
What about Sweet F.A.?
I don't know. Scott Squires can tell you whether or not they should be there.
Okay.
Which, by the way, Scott Squires is a member of Rocket Science.
Yes.
And we've mentioned like 40 times over the past 3 years that we were going to have him on to talk like a full-on glam metal episode.
We still need to do it.
So I'm just saying that again publicly so we
can
kick our ass into gear.
Yeah.
Because I know he'll be down to do it.
It'll be the Glam Slam Metal Jam.
There you go. That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Fucking A.
But back to the Junkyard LA Gun Show. That will be opened by our good friends in the band Grind.
Yes, I can't wait.
You'll hear more about them coming up here in a while.
Yes. Yes, you will.
And then, February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, the love of Jason's life, Biff Byford.
That's right.
Will be at the Ideal Ballroom, along with his 4 bandmates in Saxon.
Love of my musical life. I mean, they're one of my top favorite. I mean, I can't fucking begin to tell you how much Saxon means to me.
That's right.
And I will not bullshit. You know, even in my 20s and most of my 30s, I was oblivious. But, you know, in the past 12 years or so, I've really, I mean, they're just, I mean, I just glommed onto them, and
Well, we saw them that year at Rocklahoma, like the second or third year.
And I remember a year or so before that, I really got into it, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't wait. This is going to be, it's going to be madness.
Well, earlier in the year, they came to the BOK with Black Star Riders and the Mighty Judas Priest.
Of course.
And we had Biff Byford on this podcast. So, go back and check that out. But yeah, all these concerts hosted by Eddie Trunk.
Yes, of course.
So he's out there every time. He'll talk with you. Go out there, try to stump the trunk.
Try to.
Yeah. Ask him questions about King of the Hill and Sweet F.A.
That's right. See if he knows.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm sure he will.
Kingdom Come, Brittany Fox.
Yeah. Kingdom Come was Greta Van Fleet before Greta Van Fleet, right?
You know what?
Except they weren't as Led Zeppelin as Greta Van Fleet.
No, yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I was going to say, so we're good.
Yeah. But anyway, like we mentioned, thank you to DEB Concerts for sponsoring us, for bringing all these great shows to the Ideal Ballroom.
Yeah. You
can hit up any of the local opening bands and buy tickets directly from them to save yourself service fees, or you can go directly to the Ideal Ballroom website through Stubwire and buy these things that way.
That's right. But definitely try to hit up the local bands because you're helping them out when you do that.
That's right.
The local openers. That's where it's at, people. Do it.
Yeah. And I didn't mention Down for Five will be opening for Saxon.
That's awesome. And Mudflux.
That's right. Mudflux as well.
So, I mean, it's going to be a great night.
Right. All right. Well, like we mentioned, we got a lot to talk about. We just finished this past weekend the first Thunder Underground Fest. Finally.
Yes.
You heard us talking about it for weeks and months. It finally happened. We're finally kind of recovered.
Exactly.
Right, I would think.
I'm recovered.
Yeah. We're going to go into a full recap here in just a bit. But before we do, about a week ago, we saw Clutch with Seven Dust and Tyler Bryant in the Shakedown.
Yes, sir.
So let's just get into this. Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. It's a band that I've only heard one song, I think, maybe two on Sirius.
Yeah.
Before this, and I liked it, but I had never went as far as listening. I meant to before the show.
Well, I knew their vibe, and I heard a song or two, and then, you know, a couple days before the show, I'm like, let me dig in here. So I YouTubed them. Just great, you know, blues-based, you know, rock and roll swagger. I mean, you know, if you like shit like Greta Van Fleet or Rival Sons or Monster Truck, this is right up your alley. You know? This is what you're going to want to put on. They put on a great show. Tyler Bryant is great at the guitar. He's a guitar slinger. He's a blues slinger. You know, and for an opening set, they really got everybody going.
But for an opening set, I was surprised. It's like one of the loudest opening sets I've ever heard at the Canes Barn.
Yeah.
You know, so props to Clutch for not putting restrictions on these dudes like some headliners do.
That's right.
And like you said, blues, but this is like heavy rock, where it's just like a huge, good, you know, hard rock vibe. But like you said, soaked in blues. But there was a couple songs, you know, where they're jamming. It drops down, and it's not just like blues, heavy blues rock. It's just straight up blues.
Yeah.
And the thing I loved about this band is there's a lot of bands where you can say, you know, that's a hard rock band that's got a blues tinge to them. You know, they're a bluesy based hard rock band. I would say these guys are a blues band that lean hard rock.
Yeah. They're a rock tinged blues band.
There you go.
And, you know, they're young, they're hungry, you know, and they're fucking ready to go.
That's right.
They're from Nashville. I mean, they've got all the ingredients.
Yeah. So definitely check these guys out if you like the sound of what we just described.
Exactly.
Then a band came up that me and you have made no bones about how much we freaking love and
exactly
believe is still underrated to this day, which is Seven Dust. They never cease to amaze me.
Never.
At just how great of a band they continue to be. It's just one of those, like, every time I see them, I know that I love this band to the highest level. But every time I see them, I just go off the deep end and listen to them for like 2 days straight after that.
Exactly. Well, I put in 2 days straight before that.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, just the way things have lined up over the years, the only times I've really seen them in the last 6-7 years is Rocklahoma. So to see them, at the Canes was such a treat, and it was long overdue. And it only makes me want more because I can only imagine what a headlining set would be.
Yeah, it's been so long since we've seen that.
Yeah. And so, and they just, you know, they're just tried and true. I mean, they overcame their label, their genre, you know, of the time.
That they really weren't even,
in my
opinion, in the first place.
You're damn right.
Yeah.
They were just a little bit more than everything else at that time. And I think that's why they're still around today.
That's right.
You know, because there was times in their set where, you know, they're playing Too Close to Hate, which, you know, I haven't heard them play that in fucking forever. And you're getting all these memories coming back, of like, you know, the Ozfests and hearing this stuff for the first time. And, you know, after a whole decade of grunge and alternative, and then hearing this and you're like, fuck yeah, heavy shit's back. And without a rapper or a DJ. And, you know, so, but then you also have newer songs, like Dirty and Thank You, that are just as great, and you kind of get a memory of just back to 2 weeks ago. So It tells you the longevity of this band, the reach of this band. And, I think it's great that they've been cruising, for 20 years, and I'm glad to still have them around, and they did amazing.
Yeah, they are the pure definition of the hashtag All Killer No Filler.
Oh, man.
I mean, I'm talking about, they're one of the rare bands, kind of like Clutch, where their entire discography could fall into that label.
Yeah, exactly. You know every song, and there's not a valley in their set. There's not a low point.
Yeah.
It's all deadly.
Yeah, I mean, as a huge fan, it's a bummer that they only play late songs, but you knew as an opening band that's what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I like what you pointed out. They opened the show with Dirty, which to me is as good as anything they've ever done.
Yes,
like
sir,
you kind of said.
Yeah.
And then they closed the show with Thank You, 2 songs that are from the last 2 albums. So when you can come out as an opener and open and close with new music and it stand true, just as good as all that stuff in the middle that is all the stuff people expected to hear. Mm-hmm. That's when you know you're great.
That everybody knew.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. People were singing along to Too Close to Hate, like you said. And
and Face to Face.
Yeah. I was super excited, like you said, that they played that because I love that freaking song.
Yeah.
And I listened to that first album like 1 billion times during that period.
When
Like that's ingrained in my freaking
Because,
soul.
like, you know, Black and Bitch are all just so ingrained, and you know you're going to hear at least one of them, no matter what. But then to pull out another track from their first album, like Too Close to Hate or something.
Yeah,
dude, that was great, man.
Most bands would have played Black instead of that, you know?
Yeah. Dude, if they ever played Prayer, I would probably shit out of my eyeballs. I'm not kidding you.
Right.
That would fucking rule.
Well, they played it on those 20th anniversary shows. You know?
Yeah, that's right. They fucking played the whole record, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would be fucking sweet.
Yeah. But we did a full review on their new album, All I See Is War.
Yes.
Back after it came out, so go back and check that out. But that's definitely an album you need to check out as well because it's totally solid.
So, can you guys out there tell that we love Seven Dust?
Probably so.
If not, let us know, but I'm pretty sure we like them.
Yeah. TheThunderground@gmail.com. If
Yes.
you think you have an opinion one way or the other.
That's right.
Well, next up was the Mighty Clutch.
That's right.
As solid as a rock band as there is in this world. Always fantastic because you never know exactly what you're going to get set-wise. You can't look up on setlist.fm and find out what Clutch is going to play.
Yeah.
You can have an idea that there's going to be some new songs, but
yeah,
the rest of it's all mixed up. And I love that every time you see them, you get something a little bit different.
That's right. They mix it up.
Yeah, and just like, I think it was Steve Murdoch that said, it's just phenomenal how a no-frills rock band can just be this great in a live setting.
Exactly.
And just floor you more than theatrical bands can,
Yeah, I mean, it's not that, Neil Fallon is really the only one moving around.
Yeah.
But, it's just something about these four guys. I mean, when they're up on stage, you better fucking watch them.
This new album is freaking great.
Yeah.
We talked about that as well just a few weeks ago. Book of Bad Decisions. The set list was heavy on it, which it should be. And
it should. It's a great fucking record.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Every damn song they play. It's so satisfying to go to a show like that.
Yeah. And you want to sing along because Neil Fallon is one of the greatest lyricists in this planet.
Yeah. He is.
Yeah. I can't stress that enough. And that's another thing about this new album. And, I looked at a lot of set lists, over the past of this tour just to get an idea, of some of the stuff that they were mixing in there. And most of the shows are heavy on the new album. Mm-hmm. Obviously 6-7 songs, I think, which is cool because, a lot of bands don't do that, They stick to 3, maybe 4, especially bands that have been around for 25 years.
Yeah.
So it's good that these guys don't have that, attitude of being scared of that because they know that their fan base,
that's right.
They have the fan base that wants that and craves the new stuff just as much as hearing Prison Planner or something show up.
Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you, what's your favorite Clutch album?
Well, I don't know. I've thought about that before and I can't even, honestly, in the last couple years, Psychic Warfare.
Yeah.
Which, I don't want to say it's my favorite of all time, but I just that's my favorite in recent memory.
Gotcha.
And I hold it, it's kind of like I said with Seven Dust. Every single album is fucking great.
Yeah.
I mean, Pure Rock Fury is great.
Yeah.
Elephant Riders, of course.
Oh, that's my favorite of all time ever.
Yeah.
Elephant Riders. You are correct on Psychic Warfare. There's something. Stars lined up on that album for some reason.
Yeah.
More than, I don't know. I love all their shit, but yeah, Psychic Warfare. But Elephant Riders is, the minute I heard it way back in the day, I fell in love with it. It's my favorite Clutch record, always will be.
Yeah. And we, was it the first tour that we saw them when they opened for Prong?
Yeah, it was like on their very first.
Because it was 95?
1994, dude.
Oh, it was 4? I thought it was 5.
It was 94, 95.
Okay.
We're old fuckers. That was a long time ago. We met Neil Fallon. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He signed my ticket stub.
You still haven't?
Oh, God, that's a good fucking question. I don't know. I might. I don't know. Man, I don't know. That's insane. But yeah.
I went into that show. I didn't know him really before the show.
Yeah, I didn't either.
As a lot of people probably didn't. We went because of Prong.
And Dan Maines had his back turned the whole time.
Oh, I forgot about
Remember that? Yeah.
Well, they, and I remember going away from that. You know, I love Prong, but I kept remembering, like, Space Grass was stuck in my head for days after that.
How can it not be, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there you go. So, and here we are 24 years later talking about him still.
I don't know, you know, it sounds dorky, but as a fan, I'm proud, you know? And we've seen him a million fucking times, and it never gets old. Yeah.
And the cool thing about that is we saw him on that tour they did where they took Prong back out.
They took Prong out with him.
Yeah. Yes. What, 5 or 6 years ago?
That was great, yes. Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's get into this interview.
Yes, definitely.
This is Tim Sult from Clutch. Pretty diverse lineup with these 3 bands. Is that something you guys seek out as a headliner, or is that just the way it falls with who's available?
You know, it's a little bit of both. We always just like touring with good bands, no matter who they are or what they sound like. And we've known Seven Dust forever, and Tyler Bright and the Shakedown are awesome.
Yeah.
So we're happy to be out with a diverse lineup of heavy bands, different brands of heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important, kind of, you know, showing everybody what's out there. So getting to Book of Bad Decisions, you know, Vance Powell, talk about what he brought to it and how you ended up with him.
JP, our drummer, was out looking around for producers, and he found him. I think he just brought a lot of natural tones and live takes to the table.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, it was a lot of fun being able to go and play a lot of different vintage amps and stuff I'd never even heard of, never tried out before. And yeah, it was just a totally different recording experience for us. We'd never recorded in Nashville before, and yeah, I have no complaints whatsoever about the recording process.
After, you know, so many years together and so many records, what do you still look for in a producer? You know, what's the role you want them to play, you think?
Yeah, good question. I mean, every producer is different. But, you know, we just need somebody that can make us sound like what we sound like live.
Yeah.
It's just kind of hard to screw up.
There you go.
Well, do you guys look for someone that's like a 5th member of the band? Or, I mean, you don't really want someone that's just going to be a yes man, I guess. But
yeah, that's true. I mean, we definitely do like to, you know, hear the producer's opinion on the song or possibly the arrangement or something like that. But, you know, it really depends on who the guy is themselves. Some producers really insert themselves more into the songwriting than others do. But for us personally, on this album, we did all the pre-production ourselves. So what you're hearing is mostly us.
Gotcha.
For better or worse.
The album, to me, sounds like the song is going a little bit more different directions than the last couple albums. Is that Vance's influence, you think? Or is that just
no, not
the way
necessarily. Those were the 15 songs that we wrote before we came into the studio. And that's just what we had to go with right there. So we ended up recording them all and just decided to keep them all and put them all out at the same time. Originally, the plan was to do a shorter, more concise album, more like Earth Rocker or Psychic Warfare. But, you know, we decided to take it in a different direction this time.
Whose idea was the horns on In the Walks Barbarella?
That was definitely Vance Powell's idea.
Okay.
Yeah, he brought those guys in and they just killed it.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to find a horn section to play with us eventually.
Well, you guys have been playing it live. Do you just have a track on that?
No, we just do it without horns.
Just do it? Okay.
So was that like when he brought that, you're like, oh, that's awesome, or do you have to coach you a little bit? Or you were sold immediately?
Oh, no, we were sold immediately.
Yeah.
We definitely worked with horn players in the past. On the Elephant Riders album, we have one of the Marsalises that plays trombone on 2 tracks, I think. At least one track. We recorded 2 or 3 tracks with him. I don't remember if one or more than one made it to the album. I think 2. He plays on 2 tracks on Elephant Riders. And the Bakerton Group stuff, our side project, also had a saxophone player on a few tracks as well.
Gotcha.
So it's not really something that was foreign to us at all. We love the idea immediately.
Yeah. So this is, I don't know, this might be a little generic question, but I want to ask it. Especially nowadays, everybody's changing lineups and bands and all this kind of stuff. What's kept the 4 guys together so long?
Well, we're either totally crazy or no. I feel like it's the fact, at least for me, the fact that it always feels like Clutch is moving forward. We've been taking baby steps for 27 years, but it always feels like we're moving forward and something's happening with the band, and we're always trying to work on new material and just stay busy. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
We could have easily just, once we no longer had a major label deal, we could have easily just quit and gone away and gotten real jobs, but we all enjoy doing this. We all enjoy writing new songs and playing our new songs for our fans. So I think that's really the most important thing, that we've never really suffered any major setbacks. It's like we were never a huge band back in the 90s that kind of had to start over. We were always just moving a little bit more forward with each tour and with each album. And we just truly enjoy playing our music to our fans.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like, kind of like you were saying, the baby steps, that has to be better for the longevity than, like you said, like a big bang when you came out or after the first few records,
It's definitely kept us around for a long time. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's got to help.
Well, speaking of playing the songs live, you guys are known for changing the set list all the time. Do you guys have like any kind of database where you look at, like, say you were in Tulsa last time, do you look at what you played so you don't play the same exact things, or is it just how you feel that day?
It's usually just how we feel that day, but sometimes we go back and look at the old set list for sure to see what we played. It's been so long since we played Tulsa, though.
Right.
That was Oklahoma City where we had to cancel the show after the first band played due to a tornado.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time we played.
I think it's been about 3 years.
Yeah.
Is that, don't you guys rotate? Is that you? I know I read that last time. You rotate who does the set list each night?
Yeah, we rotate who does the set list each night because a long time ago we just got sick of getting together and making the set lists.
Well, can you tell by looking at it at a set list? Say if you grab a random set list and you didn't make it, could you tell which of the other 3 guys made it? Is there like a flair to it?
Not necessarily. I mean, no one's going to throw anything weird up in the set list unless we practice the song a few times. We're not doing it to surprise each other. We're just doing it to, kind of keep things fresh.
Well, it's cool because, if you have the same set list, it's plastered all over the internet immediately. So nowadays. So you keep the audiences guessing.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons that we started doing it in the first place, changing our set list every night, that is.
Yeah.
Out of sheer boredom for ourselves. And once we realized that people were actually coming to our shows more often because they knew that we were going to play different set lists. So that whole thing just kind of worked out.
Mm-hmm.
More like the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Without the fan base.
Well, bands are usually defined by a guitar sound and a voice. Like, what does your rhythm section bring to this band that might not be in other bands?
Interesting question. I don't know. I feel that they're equally as important to the Clutch sound as vocals and guitar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the average person does listen to music from the vocals on down.
Right.
But luckily our drummer doesn't do that. He listens to music backwards. He listens to the drums first, so he manages to, make kind of a lead drum thing. I don't know really how to explain it. He's kind of like a jazz drummer.
Okay.
A lot like a jazz drummer.
I get that.
He is a jazz drummer. Let's just be honest about it.
Let's just say it.
Yeah.
Well, this might be kind of a corny question, but in How to Shake Hands, Neil says Jimi Hendrix on a $20 bill and Bill Hicks on a 5-note.
Mm-hmm.
If you were in charge, who would you put on a $100 bill and a $50 bill?
Okay. $100 bill and a $50 bill. Let's see. How about George Carlin would probably have to be the other comedian that was on there.
Yes.
Yeah, we agree.
And I don't know, I might throw Dwayne Allman up on the 100.
Nice. I like that.
I would keep 100 around. Maybe frame it if Dwayne Allman was on.
All right, man. We appreciate
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Oh, cool. Thanks for having me.
There you go, Tim Sult from Clutch. A huge thank you to Doug Weber from New Ocean Media. Thank you to Oscar, Clutch's tour manager. And, of course, a mighty thank you to the man, Tim Sult himself.
Of course.
Yeah, that was a huge honor to be able to sit down with him for a little bit of time and,
Definitely.
Talk to him about some stuff from the new album and everything that's going on.
Of course.
Yeah, so like we mentioned, Book of Bad Decisions is out now. If you haven't heard it, you are doing your ear holes a disservice.
Yes, so go do your ear holes a service and listen to this record.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's 15 songs, and a lot of bands can't put 15 songs on an album and make it all killer, no filler, but fucking Clutch can.
You goddamn right they can.
There you go. Once again, thank you to Clutch. Well, something we need to mention, we didn't mention up front, that Ollie Herbert, the guitarist from All That Remains, passed away. It was actually the day of this Clutch show.
Yeah, it was.
Or maybe it was the night before.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we were talking about it that day. Actually, I think it was early that day. I don't know. But All That Remains, it's funny because I think it was actually that day or the day before I was thinking I wanted to message you and ask if you had heard the new All That Remains songs.
Yeah, you told me about that, and I hadn't.
Fuck Love was one of them, and I'm trying to remember the other one. Because, I mean, they've really, at least from the two songs I've heard, took a step back to the original sound.
Okay.
Because the last 2 or 3 albums have, it's had some classic All That Remains sound to it, but it's kind of been dominated by that change where they went to the, more, not really mainstream, but you know what I mean. Ollie was, of course, the original member of this band, along with Phil Labonte.
Yes.
You as a fan, I mean, I know that you're a pretty big fan early on, but like, as a guitarist, I mean, where did this guy stand, you think?
This guy was the standout and that's the one thing that I thought kind of separated All That Remains, or, that was unique about them was, he was like the metal guy. He was the shredder in, kind of a metalcore band, or
right,
maybe at times a radio rock band, even though they weren't always radio rock. And I don't know, that might not even be the best description. I know that, but you're just, if you're getting me just right off the top of my head, I'm going to say that. I mean, the guy was, the guy reminded me of, some shredder from Sweden.
Yeah.
So,
he even had that look to him, kind of,
yes, he looked different than the rest of them, and it's a definite loss, that's for sure. It's sad.
Yeah. I mean,
we don't even really know what happened yet.
Right.
And that's not for us to know,
I mean, he was only 44.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Like, we fortunately got to see him the last time here back in December when they opened for Alter Bridge at Kane's Ballroom. And just like always, he stood out, I mean, that's a phenomenal musician.
Exactly.
And, of course, a huge loss to the metal world. It'll be interesting to see how All That Remains proceeds, because literally their album's coming out, I think, early next month.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure there's tour plans already in the works.
Yeah.
Best of luck to them and however they choose to proceed. But I'm sure they'll honor his legacy because, that's been him and Phil for 20 years now, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
But on to happier news. Thunder Underground Fest. What do you say?
Oh, man. Are you doing that? Are you doing that, some kind of monster thing? One word.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know, dude.
Remember I said on the Zen Hipster interview I wasn't ever going to ask that.
Yeah, no shit.
I will if we ever
interview Metallica. I'm so happy, for multiple reasons, about this fest. Don't take this the wrong way, but I'm glad it's over in a way.
Oh, I get that, yeah.
Cause, you know, there were some hiccups, there was some stress, there was things to work out. You know, I had, you know, rehearsal. I mean, so I'm glad it's over.
Right.
But it was a very fulfilling experience in many ways. And, you know, I'm very thankful for everybody that came out to watch us.
Without a doubt.
You know, the bands, say hi to you and me. I'm thankful to the bands that played. I'm thankful to everybody that helped out. I mean, it's just, I can't say enough, you know.
Well, we've mentioned many times leading up to this, you know, a real quick recap of how this came about was we used to always talk about this as a joke, kind of like we'd mention a band or something and be like, well, one day at Thunder Underground Fest.
Yeah.
And our friend Travis D. Davis, the drummer for Claim Your Enemy, you know, kept egging us on saying, yeah, we're going to make that happen. And we were just like, yeah, you know, just thinking he was just like us, just joking. And, you know, eventually he had started Scarstruck Entertainment and then came to us and said that him, along with Mark Stevenson, had booked 2 dates at the Shrine to make this happen.
There you go.
And we were like, okay. Because, I mean, it was still to us just kind of a far-fetched thing until he came at us with October 19th and 20th, and we're like, okay, this is real.
And I'm not going to lie, I was apprehensive at first.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that you have to take into consideration that we or I didn't really know about or have any experience in. So I had questions, man. You know, but we just decided, hey, fuck it, let's just do it and learn something and have an experience and and see what happens. And
well, see, it made it easier to just dive into it because we know Travis.
Yes,
we know what kind of guy he is, and we trusted the fact that it's going to work out.
Yeah.
So we weren't hesitant. It wasn't like someone out of the blue we didn't know came to us and said, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
And Mark Stevenson was involved, who's also involved with TOP Entertainment, and we know what they do.
Yeah, we know what they bring to the table.
So we weren't ever worried about this.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway, so right off the bat, major thank you to Travis.
Yes,
Travis
definitely.
D. Davis for making this
if it wasn't
happen.
for him, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Spearheading this, all the groundwork, booking all the bands, making it happen, making this a reality. You know, so all the thanks in the world goes out to him.
Definitely.
And then a huge thank you to Mark Stevenson and TOP Entertainment for booking the Shrine and then making this go off without a hitch. And on that note, Steve Murdoch.
Oh, man.
He came in. You know, we talked to him just actually last week on the lead-up show to the event. He came in and ran the stage. He's ran the stage at the Shrine countless times with his own production company, you know, when he promotes shows. And he came in and worked with Mark, and they got this thing off, and as far as what I could tell, it went off without a hitch.
Yeah.
You know, so huge thank you to both of them out there for all their work for making this happen.
That's right.
And then, of course, a huge thank you to the Shrine itself.
Oh, man. You know, that's the first place we went when we started this to check out bands.
That's right.
You know, and we've been there so many times just to see our favorite local and regional bands and national bands.
Yeah.
So, you know, to have them host this event was, you know, it was awesome. And we, you know, again, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So a big shout out to Donnie Rich and the entire staff there at the Shrine for allowing us to book both those nights and make this thing a reality. Great bartenders, great door staff. Everything went off without a hitch. So huge thank you to them.
Of course.
And like Jason said, huge thank you to everybody that came out to this thing, because if it had just been a bunch of bands and me and you watching them, it would have been like, okay, this is great.
Yeah, exactly.
We're getting to watch these bands, but what's the point here?
Yeah, but you guys came out. You came out in force, and, you know, we really appreciate it. We didn't know what to expect, and it was a great turnout, and thank you to everybody that decided to show up.
That's right. Let's just jump into it then. Run through these bands real quick. So starting Friday, the first band that kicked this thing off was from Parts Unknown.
Yes. Rockabilly, you know, hellbound goodness from the get-go.
Yeah.
Upright bass. I mean, those guys, if a rockabilly band shreds, it's from Parts Unknown. That's for sure.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
They
like
were
when
so
you
fucking good.
It's like when you listen to their recorded music, it has a real, punk tinged rockabilly tinged vibe to it. But when you hear it live, it's kind of like you said, it's rockabilly punk just to the max.
Yeah, and they
It's
did
just amped
fucking
the fuck out.
Four Horsemen.
Oh, right.
And it wasn't snarky and it wasn't stupid. They kept their fucking style, but they kept the fucking speed and they kept the aggressiveness. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was fucking off the chain.
Yeah. And during that, Mike Starkey walked over and said, I think I'm just going to leave my upright bass in the car.
Yeah.
But as we'll talk about, I'm glad he did.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, so if you ever get a chance to see him, Parts Unknown, they're actually on a national tour right now.
That's right.
Check them out. We know where they're from. I don't know if they want us to say it. We've said it before, but they're from Dallas, Texas.
Exactly.
So if you're in the Texas area, I'm sure they play there more than they do the rest of the world. But anyway, great band to look into, and I can't wait to see them come back around again.
Of course.
I know Pete from the Normandies had told me that they've been here a few times, unbeknownst to us before they were on our radar, I guess.
Nice.
But yeah, speaking of Mike Starkey, we've mentioned the band Murderous Mary a couple times in the last couple episodes.
Because we love them, and they fucking rule.
Yeah, and we had seen him at Badass Renee's just the week before this fest.
Yes.
So I was really happy to see that. So it made me even more pumped for this. And they delivered. And
yes, they did.
Like I said, he's got an upright bass that he uses on a few of their songs. And all four of these guys are great musicians. Like, we actually introduced them, and I made the comment about, watch this drummer. He's going to blow your mind. Yeah. Michael Davis. And you came in right after me and said, actually, all four of these guys are going to blow your mind or something like that, to set me straight. Right.
Well, I got to do what I got to do, man.
Yeah. But it's just, it's great. Like you said last time, it's just a great, solid rock band.
That's right.
And they've got the guitar work just has almost like a soulful feel to it.
Of course.
And I don't want to say a name. I think it was Andy Chapman, but someone we're talking about them later after they had played.
Yeah.
And they said, this almost reminds me of it's good mushroom music. If I was on mushrooms, this is what I want to hear right now.
Man, there you
go. And I'm
like,
hey, that's a good way to put it, because I was trying to think of how to describe it, right?
Yeah, well, they're a solid rock band, and we always need more of that.
Yeah, because
there's so much heavy, there's so much fast, and we love that, but, this town, this nation needs just solid rock and roll.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the truth.
And speaking of solid rock and roll and solid hard rock bands, after them was the band Zen Hipster.
Oh, man.
It was pretty lame, dude.
Who are they?
Fuck them. We're going to keep quoting that dude forever. No one knows what we're talking about.
Exactly. Well, I don't care if they know or not.
I know, because it's one of the greatest quotes in history.
Fuck them. Who are they?
Right. Well, Zen Hipster, first show in 5.5 years. What? Third show in 15 years, basically, probably?
Pretty much, yeah.
So, just up front, I'll just let you take this. For those of you that don't know, Jason is the rhythm guitarist for this band.
Uh-huh.
How did it feel? What was it like? What was the experience like? Because I know you were a little nervous leading up to it since it had been a while, but...
Yeah, a couple days before, I was nervous about it. And the day of, I wasn't really nervous for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know. I might have looked nervous to some, but I wasn't. But it felt great to get up there. It felt great to play again. Once that first note was hit, it all just left and felt good. And all the stress of everything we had to do that week. And it was just a great experience. And it felt good. That was we had a great turnout watching this, and that felt good. We had a little bit of technical difficulty with, Eric Bass's bass, but, Severmind stepped up and let us borrow a bass, and we thanked them immensely.
That's right.
And we powered through, and we had a great set. Went off without a hitch. It felt good to play. I think everybody played to their full talent. And it was just a blast. It was a blast.
That's good to hear. Standing at, being someone that had seen a ton of your shows back in the day.
Yes.
Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I guess. You know, I always remembered all those shows, you guys sounded good, solid, tight, hard rock band. But just something about it, watching it here, I'm just like, this seems even better than before. You know, it's been so long, but just in my head, maybe that's just because it was cool because it was back, but that's just how I felt.
Yeah.
And then that's what Laura from Porch Talk with Chris and Laura told me as well, because, you know, she saw several of those shows back then as well. And she said she thought it was better than ever. So I commend you guys for coming back after that long and sounding that fucking solid, because...
Well, thank you.
Yeah, there were, I'm not exaggerating, probably 10 or 12 different people from the bands playing, you know, Mark Stevenson, that just came up to me and were like, man, these guys are fucking great. These guys are solid, tight. You know, that was a couple things, you know, Steven from Solidify, you know, these guys are fucking amazing, blah, blah, blah. So it's just cool that, you know, all the other bands are out there checking it out, because a lot of them, because they knew you.
Yeah.
And, you know, for everybody to be that pumped about it, I know Steve Murdoch said the same thing. So just, for me, that was cool as hell just to hear that response, that people are coming up to me and telling me to tell you or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thank you. I appreciate that coming from you and from everybody that you mentioned. You know, that was, we knew that, you know, we were going to be watched, and you know, I knew that, you know, I'm part of Thunder Underground, so people are going to check this out. So I better have my goddamn ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes I didn't, but I made sure I looked like I did.
Well, I noticed several people mentioned to me, and I heard them mention to you, you know, your riffs are on fucking point and all this, you know, talking about the riffage, and you were downplaying it, but, you know, it's fucking true.
Well, thank you. And, you know, I appreciate everybody's words. I hope to do it again. I think we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
You know, we have a thing or two in 2019 we're talking about.
Good deal.
So we'll see. And, you know, we'll just see. So, yeah.
It was great to see.
That was awesome.
Eric Reese up on stage welling, and fucking Josh behind the drums again, because, you know, all four of you guys.
Dude, Eric Bass is a fucking bass monster.
Yeah.
You know, I noticed, you know, I noticed Travis from Let's Slip the Dogs was just like, you know, enamored by him.
Oh, yeah.
As well as he should be, because Eric Bass is a fucking beast on the bass guitar.
Yeah. There you go, everybody. More Zen Hipster to come.
I hope.
Well, followed up by that was some Solidify. Great band, great rock band out of Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Just stomping all over the stage.
Yeah. They did a fantastic cover of The Chain, Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
You know, all their original stuff's solid. We played them a couple times now in the podcast. Just a fantastic, straight across the board hard rock band that I can't say enough good things about. You know, we've seen them now multiple times, and just hugely glad to have them a part of this thing.
Of course.
And looking forward to, you know, what else they've got coming up.
Yeah, I mean, they're you know, they're as rock solid as ever, and I was so glad to have them part of it.
Yeah. So yeah, check out Solidify. You will not be disappointed if you like good hard rock and roll.
That's right.
Well, behind them was Machine in the Mountain. And they had Daryl Dean from Seraphim filling in on bass guitar.
Yeah.
And for someone that...
Dude, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, that it only...
All those songs.
I believe they said he had 9 days, I think.
Jesus Christ.
To learn the 6 or 7 songs they played. And
I would be fired after one rehearsal.
Yeah. For him to come in
yeah,
and pull that shit off with that technicality is amazing.
Yeah, it is super amazing.
Because we talk about this every time we see him. This band is a sight to behold.
Yes, yes, they are.
They're one of my favorite bands in this area, without a doubt. I urge anyone to check them out. They've got several EPs out, and they've got another one coming in 2019. An instrumental, progressive style metal band that will just knock you on your fucking ass.
That's right.
Their songs, you know, as cheesy as this phrase sounds, their songs tell a fucking story to the point that you're never thinking, you know, this is an instrumental band. Yeah. You know, some instrumental bands you're just like, oh, this is cool. You know, you're like listening to fucking Steve Vai well for a while, and you're like, I mean, Steve Vai, you know, is fucking amazing, but that's a bad example.
Sometimes
but you know what I mean.
You think, where's the singer? You don't think that
Yeah.
way, Machine the Mountain.
Yeah, you're like, this is a little wankery shit going on over here. But no, this...
No, yeah, this is legit shit here.
Yeah, maybe Ingve is someone I should have said. You know, when he's going off and you're just like, shut the fuck up. I don't care how technical you are. We need some fucking vocals.
Dude, fucking Vane is Porsche's Trans Hammer, what the fuck ever.
But with Machine in the Mountain...
Stupid fucking chest hair. Okay, sorry.
Machine in the Mountain, you never think about that
No.
because they're so damn amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And we love them. And we hope to get him back on his podcast soon enough.
That's right.
Because it's been quite a while now. But yeah, so huge shout out to them for yet another amazing set. Or following them was CJ McClellan and Del Diver from Grind.
Yes.
Doing an acoustic set.
That's right.
They did about a 20-minute acoustic set. I mean, we know what Grind brings as far as being just a solid, kick-ass rock band.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, this translates very well to acoustic. And it's, you know, just upbeat, high energy.
That's right.
Good time rock and roll. I can't say enough about either. It's kind of funny to see CJ on stage not doing the kicks and stuff, but I think he mentioned that, you know, I can't do my kicks or something like that.
But you know, in an acoustic sense, they fucking brought it. And, you know, it was great to be able to work out to have Grind represented on this festival. I'm glad we could do it.
That's right. And Del is the consummate fucking frontman.
Of course.
This guy's full of fucking pomp and circumstance.
That's right. You have to pay
whether
the
he's
Dill
on
Diver
stage or not.
tax.
That's
yes.
right.
Dill Diver tax is a thing.
Yeah. I love that man. And all you should too. I'm not afraid to say it. All right. Severmind was next.
Yes, they were.
This was my first time to see him with their new singer, Thad Timothy. This was your third time. You've actually seen him every time they played.
Every time with a new singer.
That's right.
So what do you think? I've explained them. I've talked about them on this podcast before. I want to hear what you think.
Yeah, you've mentioned it. You've talked them up. Said that it's a great show, great addition, and I agree. I mean, he's a great singer. Has a more, what's the word, maybe melodic vibe.
Of course.
Than the previous singer Heath had.
Okay.
And they always have this classic metal sound, but I think some of their stuff with the way he sings makes it even more so that. But it doesn't sound, I'm not saying that to make it sound like it sounds dated, but I just mean that with that more melodic voice, it even lends it more to that, just that classic heavy metal.
That's right.
That we all love.
Yeah.
And
there, you know, there's hooks and
and he brings an attitude and a frontman style, just energy to the stage.
That's right.
And, you know, I love him. Always have, always will.
Hell yeah.
And like we mentioned, you mentioned last week that they're coming up on this podcast again soon.
I think so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. So we'll be bringing that to you soon enough.
Of course.
But before we do, let's get into a new song from him right now.
Do it.
Brand new from Severmind. This is called Redeemer. Redeemer, brand new track from Severmind. That song is kick-ass, kind of like I just described, has that classic metal feel to it.
That's right.
It's a great sing-along song, as you can tell in that chorus. And as I saw live at Thunder Underground Fest, he has the crowd into it.
There you go.
Yeah, so look for more new stuff coming from Severmind with their new vocalist Thad, and we'll be bringing it to you when they do bring it out. And of course, like I said, they'll be coming up on this podcast very soon.
Oh, for sure.
All right, finally on Friday night, this thing got closed out by our great friends in the band Fist of Rage.
That's right.
And this was actually the first time I had seen Fist of Rage with their new vocals.
Same here.
Oh, I thought you had seen him once.
No, I had not seen him. Okay. I was supposed to see him at that Tulsa tribute, but alcohol had a different plan for me that night.
Oh, gotcha.
So, yeah, that's all we need to say about that deal.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on what Brax brings to this?
He brought a different kind of heaviness to it. There was still melodic stuff going on. But I loved what they had going on, and the songs are still memorable. I mean, they couldn't have found a better frontman.
Yeah.
If Andy had to leave, this is the best thing they could have done.
Yeah. Yeah, a totally different style, but it still totally fits.
It still worked, yeah. Exactly.
Which goes a long way to talk about Fist of Rage. Like, if you're that good of a band that you can take two guys with two totally different style voices and your band is still fucking great.
Exactly.
That says a lot for V and Paulette and the new members now, our buddy Lincoln.
Yes.
And new drummer, Josh Baker.
That's
not
right.
to be confused with the drummer of Zenith.
Yeah. There's two Josh Bakers here.
Yeah. But yeah, Fist of Rage kicks ass. And then to top it all off, Andy Chapman came out and watched this band to support him. And then he got on stage and they sang Feels Like Heaven together.
Fuck yeah.
Andy and Brax. So that just goes to show you that things are good with these guys. Andy is a awesome dude. We're so happy to have gotten to know him throughout the years and be a part of this podcast. And
definitely
a friend now. Same with all these guys with Brax and everybody in the band. And so that was really cool to see, to see that collaboration. There's a couple more coming up we're going to talk about, but I was very glad to be able to be in attendance for that one.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, that wrapped it up on Friday. So going into Saturday, we kick this thing off at the beginning with Sign of Lies.
Oh, man.
And talk about kicking a show off.
They do it.
They kick a show off. I mean, doesn't matter where they're at on the bill, they're going to kick your ass.
Yes, they are.
And like we've talked about countless times with our friends in the band Less Than Human, these guys are very young, but extremely on point and extremely talented, amazing musicians.
Yes.
Full of energy. Like when it started, Eric was off the stage over on that side platform area where all the gear was being stacked. I think he was standing on top of an amp or something.
Yeah.
And then he jumped off and then went up on stage, and they kicked the show off with this amazing long instrumental.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went into one of their songs where he was singing. And then after that, they brought out their new frontman, Devin LaCour.
Okay.
So they kind of like transitioned into it with a couple songs and then brought him out to sing the stuff.
Yeah.
And it brought a totally different element to what they're doing because he's got a totally different singing style. But kind of like we said with Fist of Rage, it totally works perfect.
Yeah.
And, just cool to see Devin stretching his talent, and this band is, like you mentioned the last time we talked about him. I mean, this band's going places, I think.
Yeah, they're young and hungry, and they're ready for it, man.
Yeah. And then another collaboration.
It was great to see them.
Yeah, collaboration on this one was they brought up Logan Lewis from Wooden Bone. The vocalist for Wooden Bone got up there, and he's got, rough, growly style vocals.
The brutal stuff, yeah.
And he sang that along with Devin's clean, higher register vocals, and it worked out fucking perfect.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of that collaboration personally, and would love to see some more of that, and that got me pumped to see Wooden Bone after seeing him do that, because I had not seen them.
Definitely.
And they were actually up next. they did not disappoint from, what I'd heard about them from Mark and Travis were like, they've kind of got this Megadeth vibe with heavier vocals, and they didn't, from the stuff we played them last week on the podcast, their song Apprentice, I mean, they flat out brought it.
Yeah, pretty brutal stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's full on, like you said, brutal vocals with just straight up balls out heavy metal. So yeah, check out Wood and Bone if you get a chance. They're out of, I believe it's Paul's Valley. It's near Oklahoma City.
Yes.
So check these guys out. You will not be disappointed. Speaking of Oklahoma City, they were followed by the band Archon.
Holy shit.
Kind of like we mentioned every time we mention Machine and Mountain or something, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but fucking Archon is a band that we latched on to early on doing this podcast and became a friend of Andy Papadopoulos's. Ever since then, every chance you get to see him, it just gets better and better.
Oh yeah, I mean, Andy's a great guy. They're thrashy. They're just balls out metal. It's like, if you took the big four, and had them all in an orgy in Oklahoma, and the baby would be Archon.
Oh shit, that's a great way to say it. Yeah.
And like I've said on this podcast a million times before, Andy Papadopoulos is guitar player extraordinaire. It was great to hear him again. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they fucking laid it down.
Yes, they did,
like they always do, and
it was great to get him into Tulsa because more people around here need to know about this band.
Yeah, I believe it was.
They are so fucking good.
Sprout came up to me. I think you told me he did, you as well, and told me, "Damn, these guys are dope."
Yeah, they're dope. They're killing it.
And yeah, I mean, and on that point, Andy came up to me during Sprout and said, "Dude, this dude's fucking great."
Yeah.
So it's just kind of cool to see people seeing other musicians they hadn't seen.
That's what it's about, man.
Yeah. So very proud to be able to be partly responsible for that, I guess.
Of course.
But yeah, Archon. Look these guys up. If you love, like you said, the big four, you will fucking love these guys. That was followed up by, like I mentioned, Sprout.
Yes.
The anti-hero.
Did his thing.
Yeah, Sprout's got his solo thing going on. And he's been doing dates the last couple months or more. Every Friday, Saturday, pretty much. He's out of town, hitting Texas, Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas, everywhere. I went out on tour with him back in June with Dusty Grant. Went up into Nebraska as well. Just a kick-ass acoustic music with this, a dark, brooding vibe.
Yeah.
That shows another side of Sprout's, not just lyrical content, but his vocals.
Yeah.
Because we know what he can do in a metal band. We've known that for years and years.
Yeah.
But now to see him in this setting where it's just another level.
Dark and brooding is a great way to put it.
Yeah. So yeah, look up Sprout the Anti-Hero. He should have an EP of solo music coming here in the coming months, I believe.
That is right.
Well, he was followed by Driver.
Yes.
And we've now been fortunate enough to see them several times with their new singer, Brandon.
Yes.
And
always solid, always put on a good show. It's like heavy metal with just maybe a tinge of power metal.
Yeah. It's like if you took modern metal and mixed it with a little bit of power metal.
Yes.
Because you've got the phenomenal dual guitar attack.
Yeah, and you've got hooks.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's
what Driver always brings is a catchy hook.
Yeah, besides just great vocals and lyrical stuff that would get stuck in your head, like you said, the hooks, the guitar, the riffs get stuck in your head as well.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
That's right.
And you've got an amazing rhythm section with Robin and Mike with that amazing drum set that these guys just never cease to just deliver the fuck out of the stage,
Yeah.
And I'm, so proud that they were a part of this.
Yeah. Thanks to them. I mean, they're one of the first ones that we covered. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Mike was one of the first guys in the early days to be on this podcast. And like you mentioned, they were at that first show with Severmind. Coincidentally enough, Brandon was as well with his band Shiner that used to be in.
Yep.
And
Blackwater Rebellion, which
that's right.
Mike Starkey was in.
That's right. So this all comes together.
Yeah, it does. It's great. It's fucking awesome.
Where are we at now? Sorry.
Locust Grove,
I think.
Grove. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I got some stuff. I mean, you've seen him before. I never saw him. I've been listening to him. Super pumped. I mean, it's just like, it's it's southern, it's southern tinge, just riff fucking, groove metal at its finest.
That's right.
I mean, it was just stomp, stomp, stomp. I mean, and it was so satisfying and so good for the soul.
Did you say this is your first time seeing him?
Yeah, it's my first time.
Holy shit.
Yeah, never seen him before. And one thing else I really wanted to mention is, a lot of times when you see people playing a fucking Dimebag guitar, you're like, oh, fuck. Okay, yeah, we know you fucking love Dimebag. His guitar was so specific, it's hard to see anything but Dimebag.
Right.
But for some reason, this is the first and only time I've ever seen this. Zane puts it on, and Zane puts that guitar on, and he's got it in his own way. He's got the strap, and he's got it painted, and he's got it decorated. Decorated sounds stupid, but he's got it customized to his way, and to see him play it, it makes it his own, and it looks so fucking cool. And I just, congrats to him on that. And, to the normal, just, non-musician, maybe it doesn't seem like a big deal, but to me that is. And
that's probably high praise too.
And nothing against Dime, because he's one of the gods. But I didn't think about Dime. I thought about Zane, and I thought that's his fucking guitar, and they fucking laid it down, So, I mean, I loved him, and I was so glad to finally get to see him live, and they didn't fucking disappoint me.
Yeah, I've seen him a few times now. This is probably the 5th time, I guess. And I was honestly more pumped to see them probably than anybody on this whole show, just because of knowing how great they are. And like you said, it did not disappoint. And these 4 guys are like, I just love it when I see a band, because you see a lot of bands where there's one or a couple guys that are really energetic.
Yeah.
And you don't need that. I mean, like we talked about with Clutch.
Yeah.
There's 3 guys that aren't energetic, but it's still one of the best live bands you'll see.
Yeah.
But whenever I see a band like this where all 4 guys are just over the fucking top, and it's not to a point of just, hey, we're doing this because we've got a cover for something.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We're just doing it because we're into this, and it's fucking badass. And I fucking love that.
Yeah, it was great.
And it was just unbelievable. And then to top it off, they brought up Sprout.
Oh, man.
And they did a cover of
Bury Me in Smoke.
Yeah, by Down.
Yes.
And I had actually seen them do this at Rocklahoma. I believe it was not this one, but the last one, like 2018.
Yeah.
And I asked Sprout afterwards if that's the first time since then. And he said, yeah.
Yeah.
And just fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, that was crushing.
Yeah. Not to take away from anybody on this entire show, but to me, that song, that was the highlight of the whole show.
Yeah.
Just because as much as we love Sprout and love Locust Grove, just to combine that and it to be so seamlessly and effortlessly.
Yeah.
After, there's no rehearsal on that.
Exactly.
Because Sprout came directly from playing with the mighty John Corabi in Kansas City to play our show.
That's right.
So anyway, yeah, thank you to Locust Grove for doing this show. It was a big honor for them to say yes.
Yes, definitely a huge honor.
So look up Locust Grove if you're hearing us talk about them and you're like, what, I just thought that was a fucking town in Oklahoma. No, it's an amazing band out of the Oklahoma City area with roots in Chickasha, Oklahoma, where
you have family in.
Yeah, where my grandmother is from, where I've got several cousins. So
that's right. That's awesome.
Big ups to Chickasha.
That's right.
All right. So, like I said, not to take away from anyone, but the band after Locust Grove put on a show just as good as Locust Grove.
Let me tell you something. This was my favorite band of the whole goddamn night.
Are you saying?
Yeah, I'm not fucking kidding you. I loved all the bands, don't get me wrong, but this is the fucking awesome shit. Okay, this is the Normandies. They're a punk rock band, and they're the nicest fucking guys, and they were so appreciative. They're so polite to us. They're so helpful. I'm not going to go into some shit, but they were a little bit more of a victim of some of the hiccups of the logistics as some of the other bands, and they rolled with it and they fucking made the best of it. And, they had fun with it, and, they made the best of being the punk band on a metal bill. They had fun and they were cool, but at the same time, they thumbed their nose a little bit, just maybe a little bit of a middle finger in a playful way. And, I thought that, and to me, when when shit like that goes down, I always love it.
Right.
So, for them to get up there in their spandex and their metal wigs, it was fucking great. I thought it was smart and funny, and I liked that they had the crazy fucking Radio Rock light set up, shut down, and they went to just the normal, spotlights like it should have been, and they just laid it all out there, and they just went crazy. And for me, I don't know, I really appreciated that, and I got it, and I'm glad they did that.
For those who weren't there, like you mentioned, they all 5 put on the long hair wigs, the metal wigs, and the, get up, all that. And then they opened with about 45 seconds of
Sweet Child of Mine.
A kind of sloppy version of sloppy on purpose version of Sweet Child of Mine.
Yep.
And then went straight into one of their songs.
Yep.
And
that's what and all that to say all that, but their songs are fucking great, amazing.
Oh, yeah.
They're great live anyways.
Yeah, the album that they had that came out, I guess it's 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
It's fucking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I put these guys up there at a level of punk bands that are national that
yes.
they should be, they should be on tour opening for fucking Rancid right now.
Yeah, they really should be.
Social D's out on tour right now. Why the fuck isn't the Normandy's opening up for them? That this band, if people out there that love the Street Dogs or the Normandy's, Rancid, anything like that, and you saw these guys on a bill in fucking Poughkeepsie, New York, you'd be like, fuck yes.
Yeah. And they did fucking Punk Rock and Roll by the Street Dogs.
Yeah.
Which is fucking amazing.
Which we saw them do that at the Vanguard once.
Yes.
So in the back of my head, I was hoping they would.
And they did. And
they did Holiday Road by Lindsey Buckingham.
They fucking did do Holiday Road. That's why I'm saying this is the best fucking band of the night. I don't give a fuck, whatever. They were fucking awesome. And I'm so glad they played. And I'm very thankful for the Normandys that they exist and they decided to play our festival. Very humble.
Yeah, because, like we said, this whole fest was opened by a punk band and closed by a punk band.
I think it's great.
It worked out great. Both of them, of course, put on phenomenal shows.
Yes.
And I know that, a lot of people that came to this probably don't listen to much punk. So, and, people hung around and you could tell people were into it because they put on a fucking great show, whether you're into that or not.
Yeah.
And there was even a guy that showed up that I was talking to that said that he was in town for work and he just Googled something like punk rock Tulsa.
Yeah.
And a hit came up on the Normandys for their show at the Underground Fest, and that's why he was there.
Really? That's fucking great.
Yeah. And then after the show, he's just like, fuck yeah, these guys are great. I'm like, I told you.
See, that's awesome. That's what it's about, man. I hope that guy bought some Normandys merch. I really do.
Yeah, I don't know, but I hope. But yeah, like we said, every single one of these bands, there was not a performance that was lackluster, and I'm not just saying that just to sound good to these people or to any band that was there. I fucking loved everything that happened.
Yes.
Every single show.
Yeah, again, I don't know how many times we can say thank you.
Yeah.
It's never enough. You guys made it possible. We're super fucking humbled. We are nothing to you guys. We are like a pimple on a pimple on a pimple on the ass of all you bands and fans and crew. We are very ugly. You are super good looking. We are stupid. You are super smart. You're geniuses. We can't thank you enough, and we're very appreciative.
Yeah. And I want to throw a shout out to Less Than Human.
Yes, definitely.
They had to drop off actually the day before the show because their guitarist, Brittany, burned all the tips of all her fingers.
Yes.
And they said that this happened like maybe Wednesday, and then they did a rehearsal Thursday night.
Yeah, they really tried.
To see if she could pull it off, and she just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So, first off, a huge shout out to her for even attempting to do that.
Yes.
And then...
Again, it's just, tough as hell, and we appreciate it.
Yeah. And then not only that, they still showed up.
Yeah, they showed up and hung out and stuff.
Yeah. And, we talked to them. They saw some bands. They even bought some Thunder Underground merch. So, a big shout out to Less Than Human for not getting to play, but if there's another one of these things, then I guarantee you they'll probably be on it.
That's right. Absolute professionalism.
Yeah.
Just fucking amazing people, and thanks to them.
Yeah, and that's another band, like we've said about several of these, if you get the chance to see them, do not miss out.
Yes.
They will knock you on your fucking ass in that venue, wherever you're at. But yeah, like you said, immense thanks once again, Travis D. Davis, Mark Stevenson, Tony Proctor, Donnie Rich, Steve Murdoch. And then to top all this off, we didn't even mention during all this that Steve Ray was hosting this.
That's
and
right.
He, got up there and announced the majority of the bands. And for us, like Steve Murdoch mentioned before, one of the times he's like, you people realize this is fucking rock and roll royalty right here.
It is.
And for us, it was a major honor to have him.
Oh, man.
And go back just like 3 episodes ago, he was on his podcast talking about, this fest and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
We're massive fans of this guy since we were young, so it was just a huge honor.
Yeah, to have him there it was everything. And that's not just a caption people put on pictures on their Facebook. It was everything to have him there, and we are super appreciative.
Without a doubt. But yeah, so everybody that came, thank you so much. We appreciate it immensely. And like we said, maybe there'll be another one.
I hope so. We'll see.
All right, coming up, we've got all kinds of great stuff, but we're not going to tell you about it yet. You'll be surprised here in the next few days.
That's
hopefully.
right. That's right.
And if this is your first time listening, or if you've listened many times and you got some stuff to go back, check out. We've got 193 episodes you can.
That's right.
SoundCloud.com/Thunder-Underground. You can listen on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google, all that great stuff, TheThunderUnderground.com. We've had on everyone from Gene Simmons to Shooter Jennings, glam bands, punk bands, thrash bands, metal bands, Dave Ellefson from Megadeth. The list is huge.
Oh yeah, you name it.
We don't need to keep repeating.
Yeah, I'm freezing up. I just can't even think. But we've had everybody,
Like we said, Saxon, Prong, Tesla. They've all been here.
That's right.
Many more to come. Like we mentioned, these 15 or 16 bands we just talked about, a good majority of them have been on here as well.
Yes, they have.
So just dig through these and check them out. Once again, if you got any gripes or concerns or complaints or praises, TheThunderUnderground@gmail.com, or the comments here on Facebook or Twitter or anything.
Yeah, we might read them on the show.
Yeah, there's a good chance we will.
Like I said, and if they're bad ones, we'll make fun of you.
Yeah. Thanks to every band that was a part of this.
Yes.
A big thank you again to Tim, Sult, and Clutch. And until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.